This is vocabulary list 48. This is just a handful, really, of signs related to poetry and literature. ASL literature is as rich and varied as any other language's literature. ASL poetry itself, poetry, uses repetition, rhyme, alliteration, rhythm, and meter by using hand shapes, classifiers more than signs usually, as well as movement and expression. While the literature of spoken languages is written, ASL literature, of course, is not. Instead, it is passed down through live storytelling, but also it may be recorded and shared that way as well. It is a highly regarded body of visual literature. So let's learn those 4 signs about poetry. So the first sign is the sign that's specifically for ASL poetry, since it is visual. So you want an A hand shape. You're going to touch it to your chest, your palm facing you, and then you bring it out in front of you and open it up. This is the sign for express. And so this has developed in recent years as the sign for ASL poetry specifically. Because hand shapes are such a big part of ASL literature, including poetry, we're going to learn the sign for hand shape. I have seen it as finger spelled, but hand shape usually is just signed, it's a, what do you call that? A compound sign where you sign hand and then you sign shape. So we're going to start with hand. So you want 2 flat hand shapes this way, and then you're going to like brush the edge of your hand here against your palm of the opposite hand. So, and that means hand. So hand shape is going to be that sign plus shape. So putting them together, hand shape. Poetry, like written poetry, poetry in English or some other spoken language, is similar to the sign for, sorry, scoot back, similar to the sign for music, only you change this hand shape to be a P, poetry. And this again is not ASL poetry. This is, poetry of a written language or of a spoken language, or in other words, written poetry, pretty much. ASL poetry, signed poetry, visual poetry is this one that we did at first. All right, and then the last one on vocabulary, the last sign on this list is the sign for story or message. And you may see this signed 2 different ways. One is to take 2 flat hand shapes and you want one palm facing you and one palm facing away from you, and then you grab your hands and move out and then switch palm orientations and do it again. Okay, now I'm sticking my elbows way out just to show you, but you don't really do it that way. Story. This also can mean message. And you may also see story. It's 8 hand shapes. Story or message. You may see that one with switch palm orientations, but not usually. All right, so that's a little bit about ASL literature and some poetry related signs. Vocabulary list 48.